Hi guys, I hope you had a nice day off. Today we're going to write our problem paragraph. So we already wrote our intro paragraph. Let's review real quick the problem. I was going to fail the class. I didn't read the book for the final. If I failed, I wouldn't be able to study abroad. I would have wasted a lot of money. I'd have to take the class over again. And let's read my transition. I was entering the final exam with the 36% of the class. Not only was I failing, but I had set myself up to fail the final as well. Okay, so let's continue to write and let's talk about the problem. I was sure that no matter what I did, I would fail the class. I knew all semester that my only grades would be a midterm and a final. There I was, the day before the final, and I hadn't read the book yet. The exam was going to be an essay exam. He gave us the questions. And we had simply read the book and prepare. I had done neither. I started to realize the consequences of my lack of action. I would have to face the music, and it wasn't going to be pretty. I would fail the class. I would have wasted all that money my parents paid in tuition. I would have to retake this class. This professor was the only one who taught the class. See, before we had the internet and you guys had stuff like Rate My Professor, you just knew from word of mouth who was a good professor and who wasn't. And this guy had a terrible reputation, but he was the only one that taught it. I think Enzo wanted to say hi. Enzy Poo! Enzy Poo! He picked his head up, but I guess he went back to sleep. So the professor was the only one who taught the class, which means I would have to take it with him again. This thought was horrifying, along with the mental conversation I replayed over and over again in my head. With my parents. But all of these consequences seemed like nothing. I was going to lose my spot in the study abroad program. The program was competitive and difficult to get into. I had worked so hard for my first 2 years to get in. And I threw it all away because I didn't like my professor. Okay, so if I look, I was going to fail the class. I talked about that. I didn't read the book. I talked about that. I wouldn't be able to study abroad. I'd waste a lot of money. I'd have to take the class all over again. So I hit all of those main things that I wanted to talk about in my problem. So now again, I have to think of my transition. So if I look at my complications and suspense, I still had one chance to fix my error, but I hadn't even checked out the book. Almost all the books were gone except one really long book. So what I can do is I can say, I worked so hard for my first 2 years to get in, and I threw it all away because I didn't like my professor. I made up my mind. I was going to fix my problem. So off to the library I went. And that will be a good transition because my next one, my complications and suspense, is talking about how I hadn't checked out the book. They were all gone. So it's going to have to start at the library. So I will attach this video as well as this example to Schoology, and I will see you guys on Monday.